violence, combat, competition. It's in our blood. It's in our nature to test our skills and seek out victory by any means necessary. You are about to witness a competition like no other. 36 amateur fighters in 3 weight classes will do battle in a grueling league, fighting for points and a chance to be crowned champion. With so many variables, few things are certain. One will rise, many will fall, and no one's getting paid. After taking the stage in the first episode, the heavyweights are back in action, looking to build momentum and avoid the big knockout. Competition, it's in our blood. And tonight, that blood will be spilled as these warriors fight to survive among the global MEGAfist 12.
It is excitement to a T here at the Nugent Center in Branson, Missouri, as you've now met the 36 fighters who are competing in this year's Global MEGAfist 12. We're going to see them again and again. Tonight, the heavyweights are doing battle for the second time. Hello, everyone. This is the Global MEGAfist 12. My name is Derek Osceola. I'm joined, as always, by my color commentator, Lucille Cramplecorn. Big night of fights tonight, Lucille. It's going to be a great one.
It's going to be great. Big night of fights, big guys in the cage. It's going to be exciting. This is our second look at these men, and we're going to find out who's made improvements and who hasn't.
You've got that exactly right. Seeing if there's any chance for them to learn anything new. It's not a foreign idea to enter the cage and fight anymore. Let's get things started. Let's go over our rules before we run down the card tonight. All of our fights are going to be comprised of 3 rounds of 150 seconds each. That's 2.5 minutes for those of you who need help with the math. 10-point must scoring system is in effect. We've only seen 1 decision, so no idea how much that's going to come into play. As always, all sorts of no's there going on. No to the groin, no hitting the back of the head. Of course, most glorious and honorable Mr. Naga loves his no to the groin. And if our judges are coming into play, there are all the criteria that they need to go through to make that judgment. Our fights tonight, we're going to go through them. Our main fight tonight, Oliver Lehman and Dan Rodenta, both of them made big impacts with their first fight of the Global MEGAfist 12. They're going to be battling it out. They're the two at the top of the tables. It's Lehman with 6 points after a first round TKO victory over Damian Adder. Rodenta got a second round TKO that got him 5 points. It's going to be a big fight tonight that closes our show.
Absolutely. These guys were very impressive, and it's going to be interesting. Who's going to try the exact same game plan as the first fight? Who's going to maybe develop something to throw their opponent off? It's as much mental as it is physical with these amateur fighters.
That's very true. It's going to be very interesting to see what they decide to do, what strategy is. More fights coming out of the out of Group A. It's going to be the all-seeing Zoltan taking on Nicholas Polka. Both of these fighters suffered early losses. They're going to have to get their tournament started at some point, but nonetheless, it's going to be an interesting one as desperation will be setting in. Will it set in, or can they keep their cool and composure and get a much-needed win?
Yeah, legally, someone's is going to have to go in this bout.
That's absolutely true. There will be points on the line for someone in that one. We go over to our next fight, staying in Group A, Fritz Milgram and Lonnie Fescue. The lawn dad and the man who has electricity surging through his veins. They both were very impressive in TKO victories in episode 1. Milgram and Fescue, these are two of the early favorites in Group A, and they're doing battle tonight early on in this tournament.
Yeah, get in, get the job done, get out. For Lonnie, go maybe pick up a couple bucks mowing some lawns when it's not so hot out with the sun going down. And for Milgram, I guess just discharging his electricity into some sort of grounded facility. I don't know what he gets up to in his off time.
I don't either. I can't imagine it's anything safe, considering that he willingly lets himself get just supercharged with voltage of, I'm no electrician. I didn't even see the electrician games when it was televised recently. I don't know what is happening, but nonetheless, it should be a great fight. We go over back to Group B. Dr. Igor Tonic got an impressive win by knockout. The only knockout of the heavyweight division so far. He knocked out Gabe Donaghy in the first round, taking on Guv Magnuson, who opened the tournament up with a loss against Dan Rodenta. He's going to be looking for his first win. Tonic wants to keep pace and stay at the top of Group B.
Yeah, Magnuson's going to want to reverse that trend from the first episode, but it's going to be tough. Tonic looked so strong and powerful, and I'm not just saying that because I've been trying some of his snake oils, but they are working wonders for me.
Outstanding to hear. Great to know that he is a reputable man of business, and that there is no reason to question anything that he is selling you. And of course,
it's almost as good as acai, but it's half the price.
Well, I don't think you can beat that. I don't think you can beat that with a stick. And that stick, of course, would be one that you could also use to keep snakes away. Speaking of that, Damian Adder and Gabe Donaghy both suffering difficult losses to Dr. Igor Tonic and Oliver Lehman, respectively. They do battle. One of them, again, another case where someone's O has to go. We'll see somebody getting points in this fight.
Yeah, these points are going to be hard to come by. Both men, are just going to be fighting like hell, and we're going to see who wants it more in this one.
Indeed, we will. One other fight to talk about. There's the other potential favorite that we've been hearing a lot about. Lil 42, the answer, coming in with a very surprising performance. He's got Wanderin' Mo Volt in his sights. It is going to be a rap versus rock. Rock, I guess, synth rock, indie. I don't know what exactly Wanderin' Mo Volt seems to follow around. Mostly jam band. Is that... It's SoundCloud rap versus Bonnaroo, I suppose. But it's going to be an interesting one in Group A.
Yeah, I guess you can just chalk it up to samples versus at least one guy in the band's Mo Volt goes to see is actually playing a guitar. He might be playing that guitar for upwards of 45 minutes, but it's a live instrument.
Remember, it is the notes he's not playing that are the important ones. But we've got a lot of... Those are our fights for the night. Coming up in just a moment, this is our first fight of the night. It is Fritz Milgram and Lonnie Fescue. We're getting things started in a big way. Victory over Nicholas Polka in episode 1 in his first fight gave Lonnie Fescue 6 big points. He's looking to mow down the competition as this lawn dad enters the cage for the second time. Here comes Fritz Milgram, another impressive fighter. He took it to the second round with Wanderin' Mo Volt, got a TKO victory. And he is a shocking competitor, pun intended, I suppose. We're taking a look at the tail of the tape. The height and the weight, barely an advantage goes to Milgram, but these are some big heavyweights. And some interesting factoids being presented for us today.
Absolutely. Both these guys, very big and powerful frames, and you got to worry about Milgram with his accident record. Those kind of avoidable injuries are really damaging, especially if it comes at the end of Lonnie Fescue's big heavy fists.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But again, it is the I guess it'd be gas versus electric here. We've got the gas-powered lawnmower. I guess the lawnmower man, Lonnie Fescue. Not sure how that would play into anything, but Milgram in the yellow, Lonnie in his khakis. And grass-stained khakis indeed.
Quick takedown from Fescue, really looking to grind and mulch away at Milgram.
Yeah, it's a strategy we saw in his fight against Polka. It didn't take him very long, so we didn't really get to see a lot. But Milgram is just... And again, here comes that dad strength that Lonnie Fescue seems to have. He takes a big punch from Milgram, and they are now suddenly just trading positions.
Yeah. The big reason no one's really, other than Milgram's, hammer fist, not a lot of good wrist control, not a lot of good underhook control in these grappling exchanges. If you don't establish wrist control and underhooks, you can't really control your opponent, and that's what we're seeing here.
No doubt about that. The underhook control, a very important thing. And you can see Lonnie Fescue going for it, but an uppercut. And Milgram, there is, I don't know if electrocharging your fists and your actual body has any effect in the octagon-like structure, but needless to say, he's giving himself the confidence by using it. Meanwhile, Fescue, my understanding is he spent a lot of the time, again, 3 weeks between these fights. That's not a lot of time, especially when you're an amateur. And if you tasted defeat, then you have a lot of bruises and potential concussion-like symptoms to overcome, and 3 weeks is medically not advisable. And he is just eating a couple of punches. These are two guys who won their first fight, so not a lot of damage taken. Fescue, I understand, he spent a lot of time coursing around with his kids, I guess, practicing his grappling, his ground game. He is cut open badly, though.
Yeah, if you're roughhousing with 2 or more children, it's going to help a lot with positions you're unfamiliar with, and it's going to provide a lot of defensive opportunities for you.
No doubt about that. He did say that the combined weight of his 3 kids did add up to about a heavyweight in this division, so perhaps that'll be, we'll see that come into play. I think the first round has to go to Milgram if I'm scoring this one. That cut is is already starting to see some swelling.
It was a bad cut. He landed some good ground and pound. That uppercut off the takedown attempt. We saw a knee in one of the earlier fights off a takedown stop a man, but those can be devastating if you time them perfectly.
No doubt about that. And Milgram, he's just getting those little, just throwing those little punches from the ground, working that cut. And you can see it already looks like it might be swelling shut. Let's see how well the corner did. They did about as best as they could. There is a lot of swelling on that left eye. It's going to be even tougher now for Fescue. He's going to have trouble seeing.
I have to imagine, though, that he's used to something like that happening. A rock maybe flying up under the blades of the mower, and he's probably taken one of those to the eye and just kept on finishing the rest of the lawn.
Oh, and he just charges right into it, and he hits him right in that swollen eye. This could be the beginning of the end. Yes, the referee stops it.
Hit him where you can't see it. That's some real strategy.
That is striking 101. Hit the man where he can't see, and Fescue is down at the moment. It's a TKO victory, and you can see the ground and pound immediately just coming in. He just did not look like he was able to defend himself. How do you feel about that stoppage, Lucille? I looked a little early, but it seemed like it was just inevitable.
Yeah, it might have been a little early, but you don't want to necessarily end one of these amateur men's careers before it could even get started. So I'm not entirely upset about that stoppage.
Remember, the fighter safety is paramount here as Milgram gets the win and now goes up to 10 points, another 5 for that second round victory.
Well, the most important thing about fighter safety is we need to have these guys continue their whole tournament.
Exactly, yeah. Fighter safety is paramount as they are, in fact, required to fight again in 3 weeks' time. But coming up in just a moment, it is going to be our second fight of the night. Lil 42, the answer, taking on Wandering Mo Volt as we stay in Group A. Let's go to that fight now. Fresh out of the pit. He's all about good vibes only. Listening to his jam band up until the point he comes out here. It is Wandering Mo Volt. He is wearing a patchwork wasn't completely obvious at any point during his fight. In our first episode 3 weeks ago, he's got a new album dropping on November 13th. It's Lil 42, the answer. Maybe if his album takes off, he can afford some more tattoos. We're looking at the tail of the tape. Lil 42, the answer, tall and a bit thin, very lanky, definitely has that 3-inch reach advantage. That will be huge coming into this fight.
Well, it's only huge if you know how to use it properly, and some of these amateurs, they don't quite have the perfect sense of range and distance management, and they sometimes let their shorter opponents just crowd in on them, and that's going to come with experience.
Yeah, reach advantage. Almost certainly a reach advantage is useless if you don't know how to use it, and we can be very certain that a lot of these fighters do not know how to use it. As we see, again, Mo Volt seems to understand that he needs to get inside, gets the takedown. The reach advantage doesn't matter when you're on the ground.
Nice reversal from Lil 42, though.
42 again, and trying to make sure he's on top so you can be reminded that the album drops on November 13th. And again, the SoundCloud page, I guess you can go to it. I don't follow what the kids are listening to on the SoundCloud. My kids just recently explained to me what Pandora was, and they're already on to about 2 or 3 new things. So,
vinyl just sounds better anyway, so I don't know what the point is.
I think you and Wandering Mo Volt would have to agree on that. He is not afraid to pay upwards of $30-$40 for his favorite band on vinyl, especially if it's a different color other than black, because it just looks cool.
Yeah, vinyl, or if they've got a cassette, because that's all his van has, is a cassette player.
Fair enough. Yeah, the vinyl, is of course for home listening, but mostly just to have on a, just to have on a shelf to be admired. And Lil 42, not admiring his work. He's going right for the kill. That was a long right hand.
Volt resilient though. He's battling back.
He's used to. It may not be his genre, but he's. I imagine spending a little bit of a time in a mosh pit would at least help with preparation for this. You know, you want to train in the environment that makes you comfortable. And for Wanderer Mo Volt, that is a concert, a general admission concert. And he's going for a submission. He's got the back of 42.
Yep. Doesn't look to have complete control though. I don't think he's really going to be able to get anything off of this position, and it's not even close.
If nothing else, it just basically kind of bought him some time. It was time that he wasn't getting punched in the face.
Yeah, good technique to clear your head is to just kind of grab at someone's neck and just ride that out.
I would hardly disagree with that either. We're going to go to the second round yet again as John Mahandas, one of our 3 referees for the night, does in fact bring this first round to a conclusion. Who do you give it to? It's a bit of a toss-up round, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to give it to 42 the answer for dropping Volt with that big straight right hand, but you know, it's close.
It's close. If it goes to a decision, we'll have to factor that in. It was just he reared back, used all of his momentum. Whether he knew how to do that or not, it was just a beauty. And it dropped Volt. He was able to recover.
Now, on the ground, you can catch
Volt again trying to go for, well, not a really honest attempt at a rear naked choke. He took the back of 42, seemed a bit surprised as how he got there, and just continued to recover. Let's see how the cardio factors into this as these two fighters enter the second round.
I'm sure with the substances both these men consume, they're always kind of vaguely confused about where they are or what's going on.
And I think Volt's going to be confused. It was 42 that was doing the spinning, but Volt's head has got to be spinning. The world has got to be spinning with that spinning back fist.
Absolutely. He to take maybe a line from your book, he spun him right round like a record.
He absolutely did. And Volt is trying to recover, but you can see he's going into panic mode. Fight or flight indeed. And again, 42 goes for that a second time, just misses on it.
Yeah, that's something you see with the guys who are a little inexperienced. You know, something works once and they just want to, hopefully it'll work again and again, and that's not always the case.
Did you also see that with a lot of independent artists as well as Lil 42, the answer? I have to imagine, I've never heard a single thing by him, but I imagine that any of his albums probably sound exactly the same. As Volt tries to throw a knee, I couldn't really see if it really connected. He goes to it again, and the back fist forces Volt into survival mode.
Well, if Volt's the kind of guy who doesn't see it coming, you know, just, I guess it'll work.
Maybe so, and I think Volt just seems to be in a bit of a daze. It might have been from the first couple of punches, not the kind of daze we expect him to be when he's out at an outdoor concert. But with 50 seconds to go in the second round, he's working that clinch. It's buying himself some time. He seems to be able to overpower 42 when it's up close and in the clinch, but 42, the answer, is really just stalking him down, isn't he?
Yeah, at range 42, the answer is devastating. His, you know, at the end of his punches and kicks are deadly.
Seeing as Volt is just trying to figure out the distance. Again, he's trying to get his bearings. These are amateur fighters, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, he's out!
And a follow-up to the back of the head. A little excessive for my tastes, but this is MMA.
I mean, you have to remember that these are amateurs here. They are not getting paid. So not only do they not know what it's like to be knocked out completely, but also they don't necessarily know what happens, what it looks like when an opponent is knocked out. As far as Lil 42 was concerned, he had to keep fighting. He didn't know that that man was unconscious, despite every clear chance to notice that he was unconscious.
Right on the brainstem, but I mean, 42's probably seen a lot of his friends and you know, associates in his rap career kind of pass out similar to that.
What a knockout. Mo Volt is just coming to. The winner, Lil 42, the answer, getting 10 points and joining Fritz Milgram atop Group A at this moment. Let me tell you, Lucille, that is going to be a fight Coming up in episode 7, Milgram and the Answer will be doing battle. When that happens, that'll be the next fight for them, so we'll have a clear first place fighter in Group A. What a fight that was. What an impressive knockout.
Yeah, that was a great fight, and that 42 and Milgram fight coming up is going to be pure violence, I imagine.
No doubt we're going to switch gears and head over to Group B as Damian Adder and Gabe Donaghy both look to get their first victory here in Group B action in the Global MEGAfist 12. That fight is coming up right now. Beg your pardon, we're actually going to take a quick break and show you, if you're new to Global MEGAfist 12, we're going to have this fight in just a moment. Before we get to that fight, we're going to show you how the Global MEGAfist 12 is going to work. If you're unfamiliar with it, if this is your first time checking out GMF 12, it's a unique tournament, and here is the format explained to you.
The Global MEGAfist 12 is a grueling competition like nothing ever seen before in mixed martial arts. First, the 12 fighters are drawn at random into 2 groups of 6 fighters each. Each fighter will face off against the other 5 in their group. A win is worth 3 points, while a draw is worth 1. In addition, bonus points are awarded for how fast a fight is won. Winning in the 3rd round is worth 4 total points, a 2nd round win is worth 5, and finishing a fight in the 1st round gets you 6 points in all. After all 5 rounds of competition, the 2 fighters who finish in last place are relegated from Global MEGAfist 12 and must earn their way back in next season. They will be replaced by 2 fighters from the Hyperfist qualifying tournament. The 2 5th-place fighters will be matched up against 2 more fighters from the Hyperfist qualifiers, with the winners earning their spot in next season's Global MEGAfist 12. The top 2 fighters from each group advance to the semifinals, where the 1st-place fighter from each group will take on the 2nd-place fighter from the other. The winners of these fights will do battle for the championship. It all comes down to one thing: win, and win fast, and the title of Global MEGAfist 12 champion awaits.
Damian Adder, a man who's used to handling snakes. We're going to see how he can handle some fists of fury. And maybe not a snake, but another sort of snake-like shape in a sock. Gabe Donaghy does not look like a man who just 3 weeks ago tasted what it felt like to be knocked out cold in the middle of this octagon-like structure. He is ready, raring to go. And Lucille, it's 2 guys whose backs are a bit against the wall. They both lost their first fight. Would hate to see them go 0-2 for their chances here in the GMF 12.
Yeah, going 0-2, it doesn't exactly spell complete disaster, but that's going to be a deep, dark, dank hole that it's going to be tough to climb out from.
And whether that deep, dark, dank hole contains a snake, or whether it contains, a bunch of socks because you're just reaching into your dryer, We're going to find out right now. Here we go. Donaghy in the bright pink, magenta perhaps, if you will. Adder in the short green trunks. And they start off with a bit of striking. And go to some grappling at this point. Nice exchange by Donaghy. He goes for the back already.
Quick work, but Adder seems a little strange. Oh, looks like I believe a Peruvian necktie Donaghy's going for.
I would be very surprised if Donaghy knew what that was.
Trying to strangle a snake man. That's I don't know. He might be used to that. It might be a fool's errand. And Adder escapes.
It's hard to say.
I was going to say. Pardon me. Go ahead.
No, please go. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's a little strange for me to see Adder go for that takedown so early, considering he has such a tremendous reach advantage.
You have to question that strategy. Agreed on that one. It does something you brought up though. Again, trying to strangle a man who's used to handling snakes. Again, they're used to coiling around him, so that doesn't seem to be a thing he's uncomfortable with, as he seems to be pretty okay on the ground. But makes me wonder. Can you strangle a snake? Do snakes have necks? Are they just all neck, or do they not have one? I guess it all depends on how you see it, but I guess this is where we find out, huh?
It's one of those age-old questions that the wisest jiu-jitsu master sitting on a mountaintop has still been unable to answer for us.
Things that we will just never know. One of them being whether a hot dog is in fact a sandwich or not, and of course, can you strangle a snake? And does it have a neck? Or is it nothing but neck? Donaghy seems to be, again, we're seeing just a submission exchange.
Swift omoplata attempt from Adder. That's shockingly impressive. Shockingly confident.
Again, now we got to wonder, does he even know if he's doing that? Now, again, Lucille, explain for those who might be watching, or maybe even for the fighters who didn't even know what they were trying to do. How does an omoplata work? What does it work? How does it affect the fighter?
Well, it's a shoulder lock, but Adder's going for a guillotine choke right now. He's not exactly chaining these submissions, but he's just going for a lot of them.
Seeing the openings.
Absolutely. Of course, the guillotine, you want to get your arm around or under the neck. These are blood chokes. They're not wind chokes. A blood choke is going to work a lot quicker once you pinch off those arteries and those veins, and that blood doesn't get up to the head. Your opponent has no choice but to pass out if they don't tap out. An omoplata is a shoulder lock. It's going to isolate the shoulder joint and just torque it. Until something pops, or again until the opponent knows what's best for him and taps out.
You're talking about like a dislocation, aren't you, in that case? Like if you don't actually either roll with it, or like you're seeing it right now. You can see just the angle of his arm. If he couldn't have escaped from that, if Adder just kept sitting forward and leaning forward, his arm would have, his shoulder would have dislocated, and we would have seen a very nasty injury.
Gentlemen.
One that I can't guarantee this Branson, Missouri crowd wouldn't have still cheered for, the savages they are.
Yeah, and the good thing about it not working is not for Donaghy's sake, but just a dislocated shoulder is kind of tough to come back from in 3 weeks, and that'd rob us of another fight.
It certainly would, and again, couldn't imagine what it would do to the sock puppet career of Gabe Donaghy. I mean, you'd be in a sling at the very least. I mean, that would leave him only with one free hand with which to do his puppetry.
Yeah, absolutely. Adder going for that takedown earlier from way too far out and just landing awkwardly at Donaghy's feet.
It never gets old to watch someone completely whiff on a takedown. They just kind of flap onto the floor and look very silly.
Yeah, it's a delight. If you ever are kind of in a down spirit, just try and find a kid's wrestling practice. It's bound to be Donaghy going for an armbar.
We're seeing I guess someone must have taken out a submission book from their local library, perhaps where he had a puppet show that he was putting on for children. Donaghy, again, I'm impressed. These look like honest-to-goodness attempts.
Yeah, some submissions, they look for some of these amateurs, they look like nothing more than just knowing that your arm only bends one way, so if you try and bend it the other way, it's gonna hurt the guy. But some of these, that armbar attempt looked pretty legitimate.
It's kind of like the origin of the armbar. It's kind of like the first person to taste lobster who decided, I'm gonna try to eat that thing. And nonetheless, the first person who realized, oh, it hurts when my arm bends that way, maybe I can use that to my advantage. That seems to be, it's that level of primitive combat. And again, going for the necktie.
Yeah, that's another choke hold. It's you can consider it a modified guillotine. You got the leg up over the back. You got the
the arm of Adder is trapped in. You can't really see it, but again, he's just kind of like he's got a tap. He's got
You
the tap
can
out.
choke a snake man. My goodness.
Apparently so. As I was just gonna say that his left. You're gonna see the replay in just a second. Donahue, 5 big points for the submission. And you'll see it here again. I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but his left leg being on the back of the head is just adding to the pressure. It's kind of just pushing down into where it's cutting off the blood supply. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's a key point of a lot of submissions. You've got to lock down the other parts of the body so they can't turn away. The head and the neck have to be kind of isolated, and trapping that arm and putting that leg up really helps in that. But that torque is immense.
All about the torque indeed. Gabe Donahue puts on a masterpiece of a puppet show. He kind of just, works the body of Adder and gets a big 5-point victory. An impressive showing by both fighters, but it's Donahue who moves up with 5 big points. This is our next fight. We head back to Group A for the final fight of Group A. We know who is heading top of the table. Now we see 2 fighters looking to get their first set of points as they do battle at this time. Again, Christmas did not come early in this tournament. We're going to see if there's going to be a gift for Nicholas Polka. We can't predict the future. We don't know who will win the Global MEGAfist 12 in any of the weight classes. But don't tell that to the all-seeing Zoltan. He's believing, and he has got a premonition that he will in fact win it. Might be a little subjective, but he says he's an expert at this. And we're looking at the tail of the tape very close, only an inch advantage to Zoltan. I guess we can say it's almost identical. It's almost a toss-up at that.
Yeah, those 10 pounds though, they might be to Polka's detriment, because 235 is a decently solid weight for a heavyweight, and
Let's go, guys.
It's extra power in the punches. It's a little extra ability to absorb punishment, which Polka's lacking. So might want to look on how well he can take some of these shots from Zoltan and as we see later, bigger and bigger fighters.
Yes, well, we have a man who sees you when you're sleeping and awake versus the man who sees all and all is beating, and he's dropping him immediately.
Could not take that power. Could not take that power.
Well, I don't think we'll have to go to the cards on this one. We'll just go to the tarot cards of the all-seeing Zoltan, and he played the death card right on the face of Polka. If you blinked, you missed it, folks. A huge first-round victory for the all-seeing Zoltan.
Devastating power. Polka really needs to think about packing on the pounds to really help, handle some of this punishment at heavyweight. 225 is a little too slim, in my opinion.
And again, and especially as it gets to be closer to Christmas time, he's going to have to pack on that Santa weight as well. At this point, he's at 0 points, but Zoltan, 6 big ones, a 24-second victory. That's about as impressive as you can get in this tournament, and that is 6 big points that will get him far into Group A.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough climb for Zoltan, but even tougher for Polka to come back from 2 devastating losses in a row.
Both in the first round, both in less than a minute. It's going to be some soul-searching time for the man in the Santa suit. And Dr. Igor Tonic and Guff Magnuson about to do battle. That is our next fight. We have 2 more for you, both in Group B. That is our next fight. It's going to be a great one. We're going to take a quick break from the action to tell you about what will be coming up next week in the Global MEGAfist 12. We'll have the second group stage of the middleweights. And there are the fights. Wilhelm Schrei versus Donnie Bay. Kendall versus Dale Branston. The Tumor of Justice versus Gordon Wu. That is your main event next week. That is, I think, the one everyone's looking forward to seeing in Group A.
Absolutely. Wu both those guys were looking very good in their last fights, but just so much we're going to learn about these guys. I mean, we're learning so much about these heavyweights on their second go around. We're going to learn a ton about these middleweights next week. It's going to answer a lot of questions.
They both took 6 points with a first round victory. And over on the Group B side, Leon Pagliacci versus Chet Lama. Paranorman, our host, versus Slovan Medovich. A lot of people are circling that one as should be a fun battle. And Jerome Glorioso, the only fighter to win via decision so far, takes on Grover Fuppenberg. Again, 2 fighters with early wins, both sitting on, Glorioso with 3 points, Fuppenberg with 5. It's going to be a great one. That's next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on this very channel as Episode 5 of the Global MEGAfist 12 takes place. But right now, we're going to head back to the heavyweights and our final 2 fights of the evening. Guff Magnuson, fairly local favorite. The elementary school where he works, not too far from here. He is protecting, he is serving. He wants to serve himself a victory. He has, however, drawn a very difficult opponent here in the second fight. Dr. Igor Tonic with a first-round knockout win over Gabe Donahue in Episode 1. He's going to look to add more points to his total. Guff Magnuson, a very difficult opponent, did not give Dan Rodenta an easy fight at all.
No, it was a tough fight that Magnuson was in. Tonic had quick, easy work in his first fight. The height, reach, weight, everything's pretty close. That 250 pounds should be more than enough to handle some of these blows, but I just think Tonic's got some untapped source of power that, medical science can't quite explain yet.
I think he's using some of his own elixirs and mixtures and, of course, potions that he goes around selling and drops them immediately. Looks like it might have just been a bit of a flash knockdown. Nothing too serious to actually hurt Guff Magnuson. But Tonic took advantage of it, and he is working the mount with vigor.
Yeah, he's got complete control. He's blocked these sweep attempts. He's maintaining, position, landing ground and pound. Just got swept though, as I say that.
And he does. And here's Guff now using the mount as well. Again, I guess when your security detail mostly involves corralling children, you're not as used to working with adults. Perhaps a bit of a training regimen change for Magnuson. Seems to be overpowered by the heavier Tonic. Again, he had a 10-pound advantage by being 260. Magnuson at 250, not one of the small, one of the larger heavyweights as well.
Yeah, I can only hope that Magnuson might have maybe employed the help of maybe the gym teachers to get him in shape for dealing with the strength of full-grown adult humans.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I'd love to kind of talk to him and see who in that elementary school was the best suitable to help him train. Again, these men have to go back to work right when they're not getting paid, as it's very clear no one gets paid here in Global MEGAfist 12. But nonetheless, it really is a testament to the will as these fighters are going back to their daytime jobs, or some of them are their nighttime jobs.
Big head kick.
And that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to make a sales pitch when you're feeling concussion syndrome or post-concussion syndrome. That head kick from Magnuson just cracked Tonic, and a spinning back fist followed up by a hook.
Oh, good takedown defense and an uppercut from Tonic.
I'm terrified to think that any of that was effective against a child, but Magnuson certainly is working it, but on top, it looks like an axe kick, or perhaps just getting it up to kick him in the head. At the end of the round, mercifully, the round ends, and these two fighters took a lot of damage.
Big shots from both guys. Magnuson's bleeding at the corner of his eye. I can't quite see how Tonic's faring. He doesn't seem to be bleeding too badly from what I can tell in the corner, but both men took a lot of damage in that round. That early flash knockdown, follow-up punch.
What a shot. That's what dropped Magnuson very early in this fight. But this was the head kick. This might have been the strike of the round. It caught him off guard completely, and this was almost just like a push kick to the face. I think he just lifted his leg and hoped something happened.
Yeah, if he was, maybe a trained martial artist, that might have been something of a crescent kick to the face, but I can't imagine a guy like Dr. Igor Tonic is familiar with any kind of techniques like that. Oh, big devastating knee.
Goes for it right away, and goes for the submission. This is an interesting development after a striking battle in the entirety of the first round.
Yeah, get them while they're dazed, and got the tap with that guillotine.
That's an interesting strategy, a very smart one, I have to say. Just opting to say, okay, well, Magnuson was struggling, maybe saw how hard it was to finish him with strikes, but decided the neck was available. That has to be what ended up happening.
Yeah, it's got to be, he looked a little dizzy, maybe, confused, didn't know how to defend it, and Tonic just choked him not unconscious because he tapped, choking him to near unconscious.
And he definitely just wrenching back. It's such a violent, he just kind of he pops his hips forward and really wrenches back. And if nothing else, the pain of that front face lock alone would have just been enough to make any amateur tap out. Dr. Igor Tonic moves up to 11 points, going 2-0 so far in Group B.
I called him as an early front runner after his first fight, and he's showing that again in this one. Just absolutely devastating striking, and somehow has a bit of a submission game as well.
He seems to have a little bit of everything for what ails you, as you would imagine, from a man who sells all of his wares out of a suitcase. It's main event time. As they say, in the world of squirrels, the man with the nuts is king. I don't know what that means about Dan Rodenta, but he lives among squirrels. With no care in the world about anyone's personal life or how downtrodden they are, Oliver Lehman has that cold-blooded mentality that makes him a shoo-in for mixed martial arts, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You can't have any kind of sympathy for your opponent. You just got to go out there and take what he wants and just, be completely ruthless.
Tail of the tape, again, the advantages go to Lehman. He's gotten the height and the reach. And, let's say he got shot.
People don't want to give up their things freely. So, if you're there to collect, it's not completely, understandable that someone would shoot.
I think we're learning a little bit more about the toughness of Oliver Lehman.
Yeah.
He's got the size, he's got the stand-up game.
Absolutely, and we've been seeing tonight that some of these smaller heavyweights are not faring so well against their bigger opponents. If there's maybe a light heavyweight division they could have cut down to, they'd be doing a lot better. But unfortunately, it's just not in the cards for them.
Yeah, it's heavyweight or drop all the way down to middleweight, and for someone like Rodenta, that's 40 pounds. That's just not. It's just not something that the human body is designed to do. Sometimes you just have to cut your losses at that point. And again, when you're living among squirrels don't really know understanding dieting. And at some points of the year, he's storing food for the winter. So that's a big just change in weight over the course of the year.
Yeah, it's tough because nuts are they're high in protein, but they're also high in fat. So it's kind of hard to maintain a consistent body weight, when you're eating as much as you can during, the plentiful months, but kind of rationing during winter.
Yes, all the foraging cannot burn enough calories. We're already seeing we're about halfway through the first round. Again, 2.5 minutes, 150 seconds. It counts down in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. And with just about a minute to go, Lehman is, Rodenta broke away from the clinch. I think that might be where Rodenta would want to shine, giving up that advantage of the reach.
The reach advantage is nullified, but, maybe he felt Lehman's got a lot of strength and power in the clinch, and that was just something he didn't want to deal with. I've seen Russians train, with bears to help hone their grappling. I'm not sure if squirrels offer the same benefit. Big uppercut.
It doesn't look like it because that uppercut really hurt Rodenta, and down he goes. I think it was a second uppercut that dropped him, and that's going to be it. 6 big points for Lehman.
I think there was an uppercut to the back of the head as Rodenta was falling, which can't have been good.
No, certainly was going to be detrimental to his well-being. I think he might think he belongs among the squirrels a little bit more after the damage that will do. Again, not illegal. He did kind of turn away into it. You can't say that he was aiming for the back of the head. It all just happened so quickly. And again, when you deal with Missouri State Athletic Commission and the quality of the referees, well, you get what you pay for. And no one's getting paid. Exactly. Well, Oliver Lehman will top Group B with 12 points. That is 2 TKO victories in the first round, taking out Damian Adder in episode 1. He took out Dan Rodenta tonight. He is your leader in Group B. And what a night of fights it has been. Just remind ourselves of the results. Let's talk about Group A to begin. All-Seeing Zoltan, a TKO victory in the first round over Nicholas Polka. Little 42 the answer. Took it to the second round, but knocked out Wander and Mo Volt. And to start things out, Fritz Milgram got a TKO victory over Lonnie Fescue in round 2. Any of those results stick out to you, Lucille?
I mean, Milgram defeating Fescue is impressive. Little 42 the answer. He looks like he's actually kind of putting things together standing. He might over-rely on that spinning back fist, but, if your opponents are too inexperienced to see it coming, it's devastating. Zoltan getting on the winning streak is good to see, but Volt and Polka have got to do a lot of digging to get something going so early in
and
this.
It's interesting to see how the schedule is lining it up. Again, this is a predetermined schedule. These are not scheduled as we go along. Polka will take on Volt on episode 7. That's going to be on September 4th when we revisit the heavyweights for their third fight. Fescue versus Zoltan. It's going to be 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, and 5 versus 6. So we're going to really start to see some separation from the top and the bottom, and maybe we'll start to see some favorites sort of emerge.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to put anything on this, I would say that 40. I'm saying Little 42 the answer is going to end Group A at the top. That's my pick after seeing him for 2 fights. That kid he's a weird kid. His music is terrible, but his strikes are powerful.
Seems to be a savant in something as we head over to Group B, where it's a little bit more defined. Lehman with a TKO victory in the first round, and a couple of second-round submission wins for Tonic and Donaghy. I'll ask the same question: who impressed you tonight?
I mean, Lehman again. I mean, he's just so strong with his strikes. Tonic, I didn't expect him. Not only his submission skills, but his ability to shrug off Magnuson's takedown attempts. I think he stuffed pretty much all of Magnuson's, double leg attempts. That's impressive to be able to kind of combine everything: striking, grappling, and submissions.
And of course we had Donaghy and Adder put on a submission clinic.
Yeah, Donaghy's just even attempting a Peruvian necktie, which even in pro MMA you don't see that much of, just because it's not necessarily a high percentage move. But Donaghy, he grabbed at the neck and he squeezed until he got the finish.
Yes, and Donaghy has a difficult opponent in episode 7, the third fight. He takes on Oliver Lehman. Dan Rodenta will take on Dr. Igor Tonic. And again, it's a bottom-of-the-table battle between Magnuson and Adder. As we're gonna start to see some separation, but we could see potentially Tonic and Lehman going fight for fight with one another. As I kind of just look ahead into should these two fighters continue on. Lehman versus Tonic is the final fight of these 5 group stage fights. So we could potentially see 2 fighters going 4-0 until they do battle. But they got other opponents to get through in first. Don't discount Rodenta and Donaghy. They're both quality fighters. No fight is a gimme at this point in the Global MEGAfist 12.
No, I think everything's, even some of these 0-2 guys going against each other, they're not, obviously they're not fighting for money, but, they're fighting for respect, they're fighting for honor, they're fighting to just get out of the house for a little bit, and sometimes that's all it takes to just grit your teeth and smash another man in the face for a couple of minutes.
Motivation can come in all sorts of forms. Lucille, it's been a great night of fights. It's been great to have you again. What a night of fights. Are you ready for the middleweights again next week?
Oh, of course. This whole Global MEGAfist 12 series has been outstanding so far, and the middleweights are going to bring it again, as I know they're capable of.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're going to thank you all for joining us. As always, we'll be back again on this very channel next week, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for more Global MEGAfist 12. Again, we'd like to thank Lucille Cramplecorn, my color commentator. Michael Oleander should hopefully be back with us. He's been out on vacation, been MIA for us. We'll get him back there. As always, we praise and give glory to most glorious and honorable Mr. Naga for providing us with the beauty and devastation that is amateur MMA. That is the Global MEGAfist 12. Lucille Cramplecorn. My name is Derek Osceola. We'll see you again next week for more Global MEGAfist 12.